with stories. So if you are going with stories, let me tell you one little story that you may or may not relate to. So hear this out. I am a little girl of 9 years old. I love to play in the park, but nowadays my mom says that I can't go out and play with my friends. I need to sit at home and listen to exactly what she speaks every moment of the day. When I say I want to play with Lego, she says your homework is still awaiting and you've got 2 extra class on Zoom. By the time my day ends, it's usually 4:30 and 5. I am so tired that even when my pet comes to hug me, I don't have the time to throw them a ball. I don't enjoy my school anymore. And when I'm late to submit my homework, which my teacher expects of me, I don't like doing that homework. I rather leave it. And then mom gets even angrier because I haven't finished anything. I so loved meeting my friends. You know, even during a class time, we were having so much of fun. We used to pass chits, we used to have our common jokes, but on this virtual background, I have to be at my best behavior. I don't enjoy that. All right. So if any of you felt the same, it doesn't matter if you're 8 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50. Unfortunately, none of us have times to go out with coffee with friends, chat in the corridors, laugh at a parent who was too dolled up, or a child who forgot her pencil for the 100th time. And we all need to be hands-on as parents, as teachers, as wives and spouses. And husbands have learned how to cook better than us. I wonder how many of us relate to this situation. Because I can see the smiles on the husbands coming along and saying, well, we were always great cooks. It's just that we didn't show off earlier. So any thoughts? Oh yeah, Sweet 16, well, it's always a number game. I do agree with that too. So without going any further, I'm going to start my presentation. You have tons of questions, I'm hoping, because I know there are 2 types of response: complete silence and a chaos. I prefer the chaos. So here we go. If you can see my screen, please give me a thumbs up so that I know that it's there. All right. Shefali, would you want to take over? Because you know me, I love talking.
Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So you have actually really, touched our feelings. And let me just introduce you first. So welcome to SAR Education Enrichment Courses, which are conducted every Saturday. So I'm Shefali Juneja from SAR Education and the moderator for the workshop today. So our course presenter is Ms. Aarti Bakshi. She's a school counselor with Pathways School, Noida. She's extensive experience in hospitals and academic setups for the past 14 years. She's PhD in developmental psychology. She's passionate about mindfulness, teaching through life skill stories, and mental health. And I think I would give this stage to Aarti ma'am, because she's got a lot of things to talk about, and I know I won't steal time from her. Thank you so much, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Shefali. Very kind of you. Okay, so I believe that each one of our lives is like the oceans. We do a lot of monotony, but if we do it with exuberance, we can go and on and on and on. Just like the ocean layers it every time and shows us happiness with the sound and the tones that it gives us, we are forever wanting to be next to the beach. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to just close your eyes. Please do me this favor. Close your eyes and hear this. Please write in one word that comes to your mind when you think about the ocean. Try connecting it with your teaching. Ms. Shefali, I'll request you to read it out because once I'm with the screen, I really can't.
Good. So peace of mind. We have lively sound of music with my kids, awesome feeling, natural beauty, calmness, the flow, the continuous flow, resourceful. Wow. Meditation, peace of mind again, the depth, waves, relaxing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So I want you to now look at it in another way. You've told me all the beautiful things that go with teaching and the oceans and how we layer it up every moment. We may be teaching the same subject over and over again, but we try to bring it out to the depth of what the children are understanding in that year. Fortunately, unfortunately, education has gone through a complete circle. You know, just a day or two back, we had the entire change in our education system. Well, if you look at it, it is quite similar to what the Raja and Maharajas and the princes did in the earlier times. So when they had the Gurukul system, they had a system where there was no complete arts or complete science. It was a mixture. It was an amalgamation. And you did everything in small bits. And liberal arts was the way to go ahead. And we've come back to that. We've had this time where parents screamed and shouted, and just take it as a joke, in the 1960s and the 70s, where grades were terrible for children. And then they moved on in the 2010s, where they blamed the teachers for not having their children learn enough. But again, it's a circle. And today, when parents are saying that you need to help me out because my child is not listening to me and is not finishing the homework, you have every right to say, well, they never act like that in my class. I wonder what you are up to. So it is a full circle. Without going anywhere further, I want you to understand what research says about the present COVID time and the present scenario of teachers in India. This is 74% are touched by the epidemic. But why? Now, I'm giving you three which has come in through research. If you have a fourth, which is different, go ahead and write it. Volume, too much to do and not enough time. Maybe you are juggling home and school and feedbacks and also lesson plans, change in them, environments. The change that has happened because of the overstimulation, and we may or may not have adequate resources. You know, today, although we are getting all very comfortable with our online resources, there is still so much that we need to learn. And every day, our technology is changing. Then student behavior time. In an actual classroom, we used to have all the children right there, and I could see the emotions, and you could see how they reacted and where the things were going scary. But on the video, you have times where a child is lying down on bed and talking to you, or is not in the uniform, or is not even washed his face, and just got out of bed and sitting down. And we go with the flow. If you agree with that, do say a yes. And if not, go ahead and say, no, I don't agree with this. I think it's much more pleasant to be here in this virtual background. There's this common question that continues in all our heads. Does what we teach ever stay with the children? All the times when we have repeated so many times, have a sharp pencil, mute your mics, raise your hands, be a good listener, does it even make an effort? Do the children really hear it? Do they listen and follow it? Or do they just let it go? So I found this video. I'm going to just play it. It's a short video. Hear it out. I think it sums up what we do.
Good morning, Abby.
Good morning.
Play it one more time.
You hungry?
Yeah.
And here she is.
Count with me. 2.
2, 4, 6.
Year 5, well done.
We thought about trying it like this. What do you think?
Yeah, that was amazing. It's like a Van Gogh.
How would you define identity? Who you are? Creating a piece of work that represents you.
I don't want to see you two here again. You're better than this, the pair of you.
Change the electrodes. It's going to be a challenge, okay, but you can do this.
Come on, Abby.
Come on, Abby.
Come tomorrow, you're not going to be feeling this way.
Besides, school would be a complete change, an entire separation from Gateshead.
Brilliant. Can I stop you there? Well read.
Bit of a tough year last year, totally different this year. I think her confidence has grown.
You must remain silent at all times. You have any issues, please raise your hand. You may begin.
Settling down, can we make sure we got the dates written in the
Some of the
title?
characteristics that make us who we are.
Stop you there. Well read. What happened?
Let's sound it out together.
Till my spirit was moved.
We've enjoyed our time in this school.
This is going to be challenging.
You can achieve whatever you want to in life.
If you need me, you can come and talk to me.
Teaching. Every lesson shapes a life. Search Get Into Teaching.
So, I've always felt, does it go with them? And it's the time when, when your children grow up and they are in professions and they come back and give you a hug and say, oh, Miss Aarti, you know what? I still carry that letter with me in which you wrote down what you felt about me. So as an average, I work with children of all ages, but from grade 4 onwards, I write each one of them a letter on their strengths and where I feel they will reach once they are more grown up. And many of them keep those letters. And I'll give you a personal anecdote of it. When I get really angry with my youngest, and I say things to him, he runs up to his room and he usually takes out the piles of letters I've written to him and say, Oh, so you're really angry with my behavior, not with me, because in your head, you know who I am. If we can give that to the children of who they are and their strengths, we've done it. For it to become more clearer, we need to do this for ourselves. So go with the flow. And I'm hoping that because we are teachers, we are very resourceful. You will always have a paper and a pen with you. So if you do, scribble on any scribble pad you have in front of you. Could it be a newspaper, a sheet of paper, a book, a textbook, any pencil, color pencil, anything. And are you ready? So I need you to think about what is social emotional learning. This is not the activity. Go with the flow still. So I say we need to work towards being anti-fragile, not resilient anymore. You know, fragile is that you say something and the person starts to cry and cannot respond anymore and reacts, either screaming or crying or feeling bad about the situation, but does nothing about it. A resilient is stoic. That person doesn't show any emotion, just stays calm, stays in his or her inner circle, and then looks at the situation, lets the situation go away, bounces back to who that person is, and continues. But anti-fragile is a new term that has come in, which means we integrate. We start from chaos. We look at chaos as an opportunity, as a situation that can give us different skills to build up. And that's where social emotional learning comes in. It's being anti-fragile, not being anti-resilient. Anti-fragile is an integration. So let me give you an example. You know, we've always talked of the work-life balance. Now, that is being resilient. Anti-fragile is integrating work-life. And come to think of it, during the COVID time, we've integrated it. We've managed our homes and our work from the same platform. We have multitasked. We have moved from not only looking after our children, but all the children in so many homes, including their parents. Because, you know, you no longer are dealing with children. You're dealing with families. It's become more like marriage. You're not married to a person anymore. You're married to a family. So we are no longer teachers to just a child from a certain family. We are teachers to an entire family. And that's the way anti-fragile works. So social emotional learning is how we can integrate our feelings, our emotions to the society that we see. In today's world, the society is all virtual. So we need to be more apt with our skills. We have 5 basic skills that we need to be building on. Self-awareness. Now, if you look at the basic Maslow's needs, the highest is called self-efficacy, to know who we are. To what extent can I go? So self-awareness is being in recognition of my emotion, understanding what are my strengths, areas of my concern, how can I overcome them? Then obviously the self-management. After I've understood who am I, these are my strengths. So in a particular situation, how do I deal with that situation? Like one of you had put it, I think it was Preet. Then it is social awareness. Social awareness is understanding the people who are around me, not just in my home, but my social significance on a classroom setup, when I do Zoom calls with my friends and laugh out, all of that. How aware am I of the environment? Am I understanding their feelings, being empathetic towards it? Do I understand their views, their perspectives? And I move on to relationship skills. Now again, relationship not just with all the people around, but first starts with me. How do I have a positive relationship with me, myself? And then I would have a better relationship with the world around me. Because if I can't love me, I can't love anyone else. If I find faults with me, I can't find any goodness in the world around me. And last of all, it is responsible decision making. That means we do not go with the impulse and like, oh, I felt like I was so angry, so I reacted. I think about it. I create some plan for the last 5 seconds that are in my head before I speak the words. Do I have my filters on before I do any of that? Before I go into all of this jargon, I'd like you to just play a little game with me. And if you're ready, I'm going to ask you to make a sleeping aid. Just make a sleeping aid for me, please. Now with both your hands, make sleeping aid as mirror images of each other. And now with the same flow as mirror images, the challenge is now to write down your name. And I'm writing my name as a mirror image. So I start with a capital A and I end it and I can underline it. If you can do it with one hand, practice with the other. And the moment you can do it as mirror images of each other, your mind and body shift happens, because then your left brain and your right brain interconnect and you can be as creative and as analytical as you want, which is again the basics of social emotional learning. So try doing this first, the 8s. Once you master that, that's when you start to write your name. You know, because all of us, when we start, let me show you how it starts. It starts like this. You know, we start following it together. But what I'm asking you is having a mind which goes together. And people are talking a lot about it, like, you know, oh, I can recognize things without even being told to me. This is all when the analytical and the creative bent joins together. That's how the biggest and the strongest musicians are made. The most famous of them have this alignment. Okay, so I'm going to be moving on. If you have some really pertinent question, go ahead and ask me now. And Ms. Shefali, you will read out the basic one question and I would answer anything up till now.
They're just complimenting you. And there's one question that I see, how to write this 8. Can we write this also?
Yes, you could try it out with a crayon. With the little ones, I usually try with sand. So I fill up a tray with sand and I let the children just go with this flow. You can do it on a sheet of paper and just draw a sleeping aid, and with your finger, continue moving around. And in the same way, you have 2 sheets of paper and you practice on them. This, what I am trying out for you, is something like learning Japanese. And I always try to trouble all of you because, you know, we expect, oh, at age 10, itna to aana chahiye na bacche ko, 15 years ka ho gaya hai, abhi tak ye nahi aaya. Just to undo that, I want us to learn that teach and learn are mirror images. If you write a teach, it's a learn. I think Ms. Desh wants to say something. She's raised her hand.
Oh, well, the participants are all on mute, actually.
Okay, then Ms. Shefali,
if they can write, please. Yes.
Yes,
audience, please, if you have any questions, please put in the chat box and we'll take up in the end. Okay. Please keep,
I hope it's not too tiring because I'm going to go into a little bit of theory. I love activities, so I'm going to spruce it up with activities. Anywhere you want something more from me, go ahead, please ask me. Okay, so I'm going to go straight to self-awareness. Self-awareness is the highest form we can reach. It's the highest form of us, of knowing ourselves. It's the self-efficacy. Because the moment I realize that when I fail, it's not a mistake. It's where I start So I have two things which I really love speaking about. One is start where you are. Every single morning, start where you are. Don't carry that big, huge baggage of yesterday and then pile it up. So have it a clean slate, just refresh, just like you refresh your computers, refresh it and start where you are. And that's where you realize that if you make mistakes, okay, maybe this is not what I should do. Let me try out a new method. And in the same way, if we do that with our own children at home today, if they make a mistake, instead of just losing it out with them, just say, so now we realize this is not what we do. Let's try out something more. Give them an option. Usually, when I go back to my own teachers, the majority of them said, don't do this. But a very few of them told me what to do instead. Self-efficacy is the answer to that. What should I do instead? I'm not supposed to do this. Okay, great. What should I do instead? So if you see a child who's got really bad in writing, you could ask them to do a cursive. You could ask them to do blocks. You could ask them to do calligraphy, paint, color, draw, do a video recording. There are so many options there. In the same way, you and me need to be kinder to ourselves. So before you give, it's something like an airplane. When the airplanes are flying and there is a loss of oxygen, the masks fall down. And we all need to put that mask over our face and move on. Imagine if you didn't wear the mask first and you gave it to the child sitting next to you, or the older or the younger person sitting next to you. Soon, you won't be there. Self-efficacy is just that. Believe in your ability first. Believe in yourself first. Put on the mask yourself and then pass it on. Because if we don't look after ourselves, we can't look after the world around you. And I brought up this Johari window because, I'm fascinated with what they teach you in the MBA. And it says, knowing self, blind self, unknown, and the hidden self. This is exactly who we are. The things that we know about ourselves, there are certain things that come out only when we are in a situation, when we are in confusion, when there is a calamity, a risk. That's when we realize who we are. The blind self is the thing that others know about us. There are times when our friends come up and say, oh, come on, what are you talking? You are a control freak. And you're like, no, I am not. I never. I give all the instance and the chances to everybody around me. And they're like, no, you don't. You are the one who orders everything. You are the one who says that we will go to this place. That's your blind side. And unknown is the wishes and the wants we all have, the things that we aspire to be. So that's how it goes. So if you're ready, I would like to do a small, short grounding exercise. If you are, give me a thumbs up, please. Okay, done. So now I want you to imagine your safe place. When I say a safe place, for me, it's the beach. For someone, it may be the top of the mountain. For someone, it may be just an area where you sit down in your own home and read books or have a cup of coffee. It could be whichever place. Imagine that place. Taking a nice, long, deep breath, slowly breathing in and breathing out. Feel the air around you. It's lovely, it's cool, it envelopes your body. And now imagine that you have a big black bag on your shoulder. All the thoughts that are coming to your mind, which are positive, let them be. But the negative ones, watch them as if you're watching TV. Do not get affected by them, just watch them. Now, slowly and steadily, catch hold of all of those negative thoughts and push them into this big black bag. Catch them once, throw it into the bag. Catch them again, throw it in. The bag is getting heavier and heavier. Soon the bag is so heavy that it is touching the ground. Let it touch. Tie the neck of the bag with a really strong rope. Tie it tight. Let it sink. Let it continue sinking into the ground. Now put a big boulder over that bag. Take in a deep breath, but this time put your hand on your heart and one on your belly button. So you do it like this. You put one on your hand and one on your tummy. Take in a deep breath. Slowly breathe out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Rub your hands, cover your eyes, slowly come back to the area, to the workshop that you are in. All right. So this is another of the strategies that you can do with a child or your own self when you're not feeling just up to it. Then you're questioning your abilities. Just think about it, because emotions are there, positive or negative. That's not the problem. Emotions are not the problem. It's how we respond to them. That's the problem. So once we understand that, it's never a concern. Okay, self-management, obviously, going with the same flow. It is what we are feeling, how we are reacting to it. Do we filter? You know, there are people, well-meaning people, who might say something really bad to us and later repent. Can I filter those comments and have that kind of a confidence of who I am and continue with that? That's how I can regulate my emotions, and that's where discipline comes in. Okay, and I move on to responsible. No, first I wanted to do social awareness. Social awareness is understanding different perspectives and situations and empathy. So I'm going to give you a situation, and in our chat box, just write down, what would you advise this person? Okay, just in 4 to 5 words, what would I advise this person? So you have a colleague who's working along with you at school, and every morning this colleague comes in, be it a man or a woman. Just imagine one colleague of yours who forever is saying all the nasty things, like how he or she got stuck in traffic, how terrible life is, how confusing life is, and how annoying all the in-laws have been, and how annoying the children are in class. The same friend or colleague is now talking to you on the phone because you're in a virtual background. And that person is still, gosh, I don't know what's wrong with this person. My milk doesn't come on time. My live-in maid is behaving very nasty. Well, I don't have any maid to help me out. And my children are so terrible. My husband or wife doesn't help me out. My in-laws are such and such. My friends don't fund me up. What's your advice to this person? Just one.
So I'll read it out for you, ma'am.
Yes,
self-introspect, calm yourself, put a boulder on your baggage. And I will advise her to see the positive aspect too. Positivity, count your blessings, patience.
Perfect. So here comes in gratitude. Here comes in gratitude in a major, major way. What am I grateful for? Write down the things you're grateful for. What are you grateful for? Well, I'll start with the first one. I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful that I'm safe. Go ahead and tell me what you are grateful for.
So people are just typing in for good health, beautiful family, supporting family, safe zone, happy zone. They're happy because they're grateful because they've got a beautiful family. Yeah, most of them are writing about the families and the blessings around them.
Let's not forget that we all have our jobs. In this time, it's this very trying time. The start of the session, I think a lot of us cribbed about no bonuses and no extras. And then you start to think, thank God I have a job. Thank God I'm alive. And if I don't have a job, I can do a course. I have all the time. So suddenly the variations in my life change. And that's where it comes down to the relationship that we are in. What kind of a relationship do you have with yourself? Only then can you communicate what you're feeling to others. Are you a good listener? And when we start talking about children not being good listeners, let me give you a little research. It says a child of 5 years can focus for 3 minutes. And our Zoom classes are on an average 40 minutes, sometimes even more. And a grown-up like you and me has the highest focus for 7 minutes. So when we look at it in that way, we suddenly realize we're expecting a lot too much. So to give that a break, let me do one little activity with you. So are you ready? I love brain breaks, and that's exactly what I feel children and teachers can do together. So start with where you have your eyebrows, right there, where you put your tilak or your bindi, right there in the center. So first, rub that, go on to your forehead, on the sides, and now go into little circles around your ear, just between your eye and the ear. That's where you go into little circles. Start pinching your eyebrows from there till here. Go over your ear and go behind where there's a gap in your head. There's a gap between the neck and the head. That's where you press. Then you go here and press. And you press here on all around your jaw. Go to your ears and think it's the old-fashioned Master Ji who's pulling out your ears in every direction. Shake your hands and hold on to your hands down and like a rag doll, fall down. Just like that. Just drop your head. Take in a deep breath once more and slowly breathe out. Now, what I did with you right now is called the EFT Stage 1, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. Now, this is really calming, be it when you've had a tough day, just before you want to do meditation, just before you're going off to sleep. It is a complete relaxation because the tips of our hands, our fingers, and all the extremities in our face have the nerve endings of our entire body. And the moment this is all relaxed, your body goes into a calm, blissful time. If you want music behind it, go ahead, do that too. But this is what it does. All right. I have talked about relationship skills because you need to resolve conflicts, not get into an argument mode. And I love Dr. Seuss in saying this, that you have feet to walk. Don't get into wars and start having fights over there. So walk the way you should. Only if we have the first four can we make a clear decision. Because it is not just decision making, it is not an argumentative decision making, it is not an aggressive decision making, it's an assertive decision making. And that's possible only if I look at the other person's point of view, their perspective, and then analyze the situation, and only then do I give a decision? And even after the decision, am I open to taking a feedback and reflecting over it? Be honest and just raise your hands, the teachers who are open to taking a feedback from children. And it doesn't matter how young a child you teach, because children can do this. Yes, no, maybe, or a smiley, a sad, or a straight face, or a very good, excellent, and not up to the mark, or on a line scale. I give you a 10, miss. I give you an 8. I give you a 5, or I give you a 0. How many of you are open to doing that? Okay, talking about openness. Well, like I said, I love showing you videos and activities. So one more. I hope this one works. If it doesn't, I'll send you the link. Oh, it did.
15 love. 30 love. 40 love.
That gets me to the big question. Student talk time, teacher talk time. How much are we talking? Are we giving that self-efficacy, self-management skills, the choice to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, resolve their own conflicts and move on? Only then will the little ones that we are dealing with be able to make a responsible decision-making. Now, I would flip the same thing if you are a team manager. So supposing you're a group leader coordinator, you are a coordinator of, say, let's say, grade 6, 7, 8. How many times are you giving people to make mistakes? Allow them to make mistakes. Not be scared of making those mistakes. And make that final decision, which is clear and good for the entire team and not just a selfish decision. So it's a time for introspecting in a major way. Okay, so our wellness goals are self-care, classroom repo with students' well-being, parent and school partnership, because I feel the parents have walked into our classes. They're no longer, we're not dealing with one little child anymore. We're not dealing with a 14-year-old anymore. We have siblings walking in, we have parents walking in, grandparents walking in, and everyone has an advice. And you would get emails regarding all of that. So I say, what's in my control then? What's in control of a teacher? Can you control what, do the parents like me or not? Does others' mistake control me? Or the students that I have been given, it's a terrible batch. Can I control that? Or can I control the curriculum that I teach? Or can I control what others are feeling about how I teach? Or the amount of teaching time. You know, there is time when children take about 8 to 10 minutes to log in and be there, and attendance time. So can I control all of that? Unfortunately, no, you cannot. So what, as a teacher, can I control? How I teach a curriculum. The standard I teach to. Now, supposing you're teaching to grade 8 and you're talking in baby language, they're going to switch off. If you're not having fun and games with the college students or the high school students, they switch off. If to grade 3 you're teaching as if they are in grade 7, they switch off. They don't know what you're talking about. Behavior standards in my classroom. So obviously the essential agreements. Have you made those? Have you repeated them enough? Have you modeled them enough? How and how much do I engage with parents? Do I just phone up the parents to say, your child is not doing things? Or do I take out a weekly time to say, hey, I just wanted to say that your child was superb in the circle time. Such splendid ideas. The moment we are given a congratulations from perhaps your principal or your director, you want to work harder. The moment you're acknowledged by your children that, Miss, you're a lovely teacher. We all look forward to our Teachers' Day. We all look forward to celebrating our birthdays with our children or our teammates. How are we over there? So I'm going to just leave you with just 3 strategies and I'm going to end this. Reclaim your routine, just the way you would have been prepared if you were driving out or catching the bus first thing in the morning, the same way. Do the same things. Take your proper meal breaks. Take your coffee offs. Sit down and chat with your friends. Don't disturb that. Don't get into, oh, I have to create the curriculum, so I didn't have the time. Don't do that. It would have taken you 3 days to form the curriculum. Take those 3 days. Check your ergo, because we all are going to end up with spondylitis if we don't do this. So it's a 20-20-20 thing. If I'm looking at the screen for 20 minutes, which we all are, so look at something which is a few feet away. I mean, 20 is the best thing, but unfortunately we live in little cubby holes and we don't have the 20 feet room to be looking at it. So just imagine the furthest place we can look at for 20 seconds. Just look at one spot on your wall for 20 seconds and then come back. If you do that as a brain break with your children, great. You do it with yourself first. That's what modeling and mirroring is. Last of all, team up with the parents. They are not against you. No one is against, because after all, most of us are either parents or know friends who are parents. So, children are part and parcel of our life. We are dealing with them every single morning and evening. And obviously, our education system, we can't ask and expect everybody to fly or swim. It just doesn't work out. Let's work on their strengths, and that can happen only if we know ours. This is one book which I have been fascinated with. It's about problems, what to do with a problem. And each one of us has problems some part of our days. So these are a few questions that I wrote in. Obviously, you'll have different questions. I have just put it down what I would work with my own self, and that's what I wrote. So some problems are expected, but others are unexpected. So what do you do? What is the problem that you're facing? First, let's look at the what. What am I facing? Is it expected? So then I have a strategy. Is it unexpected? Well, I don't have a strategy. Let me think about it. And that's where anti-fragile comes in. The chaos has happened. What can I innovate? Can I think about, like, supposing, let me give you an example. So the problem is my net is not working. Now, that's an unexpected problem. So what do I do? Can I take in a hotspot? Can I use a dongle? Can I switch on to a data emphasis on my mobile? Can I just give a asynchronous class to my class? Send them an email that, guys, work on this. I will see you in 20 minutes. What do I do with that problem? What are the multiple options of solving that problem, like we talked about right now? What would happen? Think about all the things that you can write down, but imagine if they don't work. What then? Apologize. Accepting a mistake is the biggest fear that you can let go of. Why we don't, it's again a research which I must put it forward. There are two emotions that makes the world go round. One's fear and the other is hope. What are you afraid of and what do you hope for? I leave you with that thought, and I would request any questions now. Ms. Shefali, if you would want them to be unmuted, please, let's follow it like a beautiful decorum, and we raise hands. I'd love to answer all the questions, but I do understand that if I don't, you can send it across to Ms. Shefali or Mr. Abhishek, and they would forward your emails to me. Okay, so I'm going to do a stop share. Oh, the last thing, think of one thing that brings a smile to your face every time. Just think about that and ask me the next questions. Okay, so please go ahead. Who's the first one? Mamta, yes, please, ask me. I still can't hear you, so may I have someone else? Ms. Shefali, would you choose someone?
Actually, I'm not able to unmute them. Let me just try. Give me a moment while I just try.
Okay, all right.
Right, everyone who has to speak a question, please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you hear me? Hi, it's Pragya this side from Mount Abu Public School. First of all, we are really grateful, ma'am, for this amazing session. We got a lot of knowledge regarding our social well-being and the ways to carry out effectively with students. I just have a question regarding the faculty. Like, ma'am, work from home, everyone knows is becoming so much tedious and monotonous in nature. So, and the working hours are not specific to the ones it used to be in our school time. So I just want to know that how should we manage our social and emotional well-being in order to keep everything positive and healthy around us?
Aarti ma'am, you're on mute, please.
Thank you so much, Pragya, for that question. If you are interested, by about April end, we will have books ready, which we are working specifically for the teachers with the SAR Publishing. And we are having a series also for the students. So you would have them all together also if you want to pick them up and buy them. That Mr. Abhishek and Mr. Fali would be better equipped to let you know about those. I have used just a few strategies today, which you can do on an average. So you remember the one which I talked about when doing this?
Yeah, I remember that.
That's your first. But first of all, Pragya, the easiest way to get over this confusion of what should I do, first of all, as teachers, we all become control freaks. So understand what's in my control and what's not. My thoughts, my actions are in my control. Nothing else is. So if I want to work 20 hours, that's in my control. I want to work all 24 hours and not eat, that's in my control. I want to look really busy, that's in my control. Give specific goals to yourself.
Right.
Yes,
okay,
please.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yes, thank you so much, Sonia. That's very kind of you.
Thank you so much.
Any questions that you would like to ask me? Please go ahead.
I think we have Ravneet Arora asking a question.
Yes.
Ravneet, are you asking a question, please?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for giving such wonderful session. I have understood nothing, and I'll be, honestly speak, use all these data students. Actually, I have the complete faith in kids and everyone.
I'm so glad to hear that, Ravneet. Like again, I'll say that I'm glad that you are going to be using that with your children. That's a wonderful news. Any other questions, please?
Any other questions, please? Ardyam, I have a question.
Yes, please, Mr. Farley.
At times we end up our days, we kind of start talking, negative about ourselves. If the days, if that particular day, there's something bad happened to you, no matter how much you tell your mind, no, you positive talk, but then something at the end of the day, you're not happy with whatever you've done actually, or maybe you've not given your 110%. How do you deal with that? I mean, I know gratitude. I mean, a lot of things that we listen, we hear, but at times it's not in our control.
Okay.
How do you handle that?
So I'm going to give you 3 strategies for that. Your first question that you need to speak to yourself is what's in my control. That's your first thing. Be specific with your time limit. That's still the first thing. The second part, what is that one thing that I loved doing today? That's the question that you need to answer. What is that one thing that I brought a smile to my face? Sometimes it's just a hug. Sometimes it's like if your cake came out really good. Sometimes it's like you had a cup of coffee which stayed hot and not just cold. Sometimes it is that I could sit down and laugh with my children. But something I must tell you is, have a crazy 10 minutes at the end of the day. A crazy 10 minutes could be switch on any music that you love and dance. Dance as if no one is watching you. Or scream like karaoke. It just, when the moment you laugh, it is this beautiful hormone that builds up, which is called the oxytocin. And all your stress hormones take a dip down. So the negative thoughts, there's like a can of worms, the negative thoughts, which go into a loop. That finishes. Because you've laughed so much. Just to laugh or have a pillow fight. How many of you have had a pillow fight with your mom, your sister, your husband, your wife? If not, please just pick up a pillow and say, I battle you to a thumbs fight. I battle you to a pillow fight. I battle you to who can run the fastest to the door. You just have something crazy as that. Or sit down together and play chess or Monopoly. Or who can say the funniest joke. Who can say the riddle and tempt people. Just be a kid. It just solves a lot of concerns. Yes, please.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have a pillow fight today.
I do look forward to those. Yes, any other question, please?
I have a question.
Yes,
I
Miss
have a
Anupama.
question.
Yes, Miss Anupama. I'll come back to you, Miss Indu. Yes, Miss Anupama.
Adding to this pillow fight, I'm taking it as a positive today because my younger son, he just, like we keep the names for our pets. So he has names for all the pillows. For his pillow, it is different. For his brother's pillow, it is different. For my pillow, it is different. And it happens like he takes it like, and the names are totally like Jethalal, Peta, and all.
So cute. The moment we can give names to our emotions, just like the way your son is giving names to his pillows, half our worries go away. Because the moment we realize, are we angry or sad or disgusted or troubled or happy or excited and vibrant, we know exactly what we need to do. Yes, Miss Indu.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi. First of all, thank you so much for the wonderful session. And my question to you is wonderful. Yeah. So my question to you is that while we used to teach in the classrooms earlier, and there was a level of satisfaction that we would derive. But now, after teaching on in the virtual classes, you're not very sure of the satisfaction level that you have achieved. That today my performance was like, I really had a very interactive and nice class today. So how do you cope up with that? Like, I mean, this transition is a little difficult.
Okay, so I'm going to give you two instances on that. You've asked me two questions. One is the transition, and the second is, how do I know have I done it to my best? The best is the feedback. Like I give you a lot of examples of smileys and number lines and a note, a feedback, reflect on it, and be open to that. Don't red flag a child just because they said, Miss, I couldn't understand a word you said. That's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine.
Sorry to interrupt you here,
yes.
ma'am.
Yes.
It's not about me giving smileys to the children. It's about my self-satisfaction that today when I taught in the class, I am very satisfied. Okay, I've what you have delivered.
Okay.
You know what you have delivered. Here, I don't know what I have delivered.
Okay, so I'm going to give you two apps which really help out. One is the Mentimeter. You do the question and you know immediately that what they have understood. So they write in this thing and it becomes like a word cloud. So it becomes quite immediate of what you have spoken, have they understood it. That's your first. Your second is the Kahoot quiz. I love Kahoot quiz because you can just do it online at this right moment and just do it. Yes, Mr. Abhishek. Okay, I think that's a wrap up.
Thank you, ma'am.
As always, I could talk for ages on this because this is so close to my heart, but I do understand everyone is really, really busy. So look forward to our books. And I, as always, will put in every material I can possibly stay on. At present, I'm working for the grade 3, 4, and 5, and one for the teachers. Thank you so much. Pleasure.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks, Aarti. Thank you so much.
Thanks, ma'am.
Thank you very much. It was indeed a wonderful session. Thank you,
ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
It
is a
wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
So Star Education will see you on next Saturday with another wonderful session by another wonderful presenter. See you, everyone. Thank you, Aarti ma'am. It was a wonderful
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aarti ma'am and Shefali ma'am.
Thank
you. The takeaway, let me tell you the takeaway. The takeaway from me today is what's in my control is press 5 every day, refresh. And I think that's going to be for everyone. See you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you.